In this video, we'll talk about the 10,000 hour rule to finding your voice or style or finding success. And we'll talk about expectations if you feel like it's too late to start because 10,000 hours feels like a lot. We'll talk about finding your path, the secret of enjoyment without the sugar, and I'll share my story and the illusions that hold us back from doing what we truly enjoy. So let's start with the what. And 10,000 hours makes you great, or so it's believed, but it may not be entirely accurate. But the point isn't the 10,000 hours. The point is that you have to put in a lot of work to get good at something. And for some people it takes less, for some it takes more. But this doesn't really matter, as you'll find later in this video when I dive deeper into it. So the thing is that we feel our thoughts. And the reason I wanted to make this video is because we keep ourselves from doing what we truly enjoy because we think we can't be successful, we think we aren't good enough, or whatever thoughts come up. And so we have these expectations of what is good enough, how we should be in relation to the world, what we should be doing with our time, and all these thoughts that we take in from the outside world. And these expectations can hold you back. And it's really about finding what you enjoy. It's not about shortcuts to success, because success in itself is an illusion. Success is an image that we've learned from the outside world. And success is different from person to person, from community to community, from country to country. So it's not one thing. But we think it's one thing, and we think if we can get that one thing, we'll be happy. But happiness doesn't come from success, because successful people are unhappy and seemingly unsuccessful people are happy or more happy. So the how do you implement the 10,000 hour rule? It's simply about finding what you want to do and starting. So if you want to be a writer, you start writing. I get so many emails from people saying they want to write, dance, sing, speak, create, whatever they want to do. And they have great ideas and great plans, but those plans often hold them back from starting because their ideas are so big that they overwhelm themselves. And overwhelm is simply having many thoughts in your head, many images that you try to keep track of, and you can't. So you feel overwhelmed. But what if instead of trying to do the big thing, you started with what was right in front of you, started with what you could do? So what can you do with what you have? If you don't have any opportunities around you, there is always some tiny step you can take toward what you enjoy and putting in more work. So if you want to be a writer but you've never written anything, maybe you start writing some short fiction, or you publish on an anonymous blog, or just publish your first article. So it's these small steps. You don't even have to write a big article. Just 100 words, 200 words. So that's where you start. And then you allow life to unfold, because as you take tiny steps, at least that's what I've seen in my life, I have a preference, I have a goal. Maybe I want to write a book, or I want to reach more people, but I always bring it back into what can I do right here, right now. And I follow what's interesting to me. So with these videos I'm recording, I have no idea where this is going. in terms of this whole video thing I'm doing and have been doing for many years now, but it's something I'm interested in, so I'm doing it, and it leads to something, because everything leads to something. When we're taking tiny steps, eventually you get somewhere. But the point isn't to get somewhere, it's simply to do what you enjoy without the sugar. And what I mean by that is, when you do something you enjoy, something that makes you come alive, you care about it, which means there will be fear involved. You'll feel like, okay, what if I'm not good enough? What if they don't like me? What if this? What if that? And part of this is learning to see through your mind, seeing through those thoughts, and noticing them, seeing them, and realizing that you don't have to get involved in every thought you have. Your mind doesn't know everything. In fact, it almost doesn't know anything. Your mind is just constantly processing what you've taken in throughout your whole life. And it comes up with suggestions. Mostly it's afraid, it wants security, it wants guarantees. So putting in the work is simply about learning to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. Because the reason you aren't putting in the work is because it's more comfortable not to. But if you want to do something you enjoy, you'll have to begin to notice that discomfort. Those are just thoughts passing through. So in the early days, I might have had a thought, oh, I'm not good enough, I'm not going to do this. And I believed it. So I did nothing until I eventually got sick of the excuses. But we'll come to my story in a bit. So I have these thoughts, and I simply refocus on doing the work. So if I'm working on a book and I feel like, okay, this is not going well at all, I know there's a thought somewhere there about an assumption about how it should go, what it should look like. And I notice that, and I bring my attention back to writing and doing the work I need to do for that day. Maybe I just have a goal of writing one paragraph, and then I end up writing a bit more. Whatever happens, I know that my mind is always commenting on what's going on. And I don't have to listen to it or take it seriously. I can refocus on doing my work. And yeah, that brings me to my story. I've been writing since I was 7 years old. Not all the time. I wrote when I was 7, kind of forgot about it. Began creating websites at 14, again forgot about it, and then began again becoming more interested when I was, I'm not sure how old, this was in 2005 I think. So I started creating websites, and eventually I started my blog, started writing books. And so it's been this gradual journey just of exploring what I enjoy doing and putting in the work. I don't really think about where I'm going, and I don't worry too much about getting anywhere. I just enjoy writing and enjoy sharing what I've found. So even after a decade of writing, I'm still learning, and I'll be learning for the rest of my life. I still have thoughts of not knowing enough or not being good enough, and I just notice those thoughts and get back to what I'm doing, because to me it's not about success. In a way, success is an illusion, because it comes down to finding what makes you come alive. Because when you find what makes you come alive, you can live in the present moment. Now, I don't want to make that seem like you have to find what makes you come alive in order to live in the present, but it's like you live right here, right now, instead of waiting for something to happen, waiting to get somewhere, because we feel our thoughts. So that means you can be externally successful while feeling depressed. That's why we have these scenarios where you may look at someone and see that they have everything. They have the relationships, the success, the money, travel, everything, and yet they say they aren't happy. And that is because we feel our thoughts, our internal reality. We don't feel the world, not directly. And there's a lot of luck involved in success. There are many variables we don't see. And so when you listen to many success stories online or in the real world, it's an edited version of reality, just like everything else we have on social media. It's not the whole truth. But that may be something to dive into in another video. But it's the reason I want to focus on the illusion of success is because it keeps us from focusing on the present moment and finding what we truly enjoy right here, right now, and doing what we can with what we have. So it's never really too late to start, even if you feel like that, because it's not about getting anywhere. It's not about becoming great. It's not about becoming an expert. Because if I enjoy writing, it doesn't matter if it doesn't go anywhere. Because when I write, I enjoy the process. So I'm in the present, doing my work, and the results of that work aren't really up to me. They're not in my control. I do the best with what I have, and it goes where it goes. So to summarize things, it really comes down to putting in the work, publishing a lot, putting your work out there, because when you do that, you see through your mind. You can begin to challenge your expectations. So if you've never done anything, you've never put something out there, you'll feel often afraid and scared. Because you think other people's expectations and opinions and thoughts about you can hurt you, but you're always feeling your internal reality. That's why sometimes someone can criticize me and it may feel bad, and another day I may not feel anything. It's all about what goes on within me. So there's no magic, and the good news is that there's no magic needed, because this is about living right here, right now, noticing that you're not your thoughts, and beginning to explore what makes you come alive, what you're interested in, and then beginning to put in the work. That's really my perspective and what I've discovered from doing this. So I'll end things there, and I'll talk to you soon.